Polytones formed in '98 and released their first album in 2003. The band won the South African Music Award for Best Rock Album for Radio Controlled Robot, which was released in 2005, and also for Stardust Galaxies, which was released in 2009. They've toured across the United States, widely across Europe, and even in Japan. They've headlined pretty much every major South African music festival and still find the time to play a lot of smaller and intimate gigs. My guest today is Kahn to talk about the band and about his new solo project, Days Like This. How's it, Kahn?
How's it?
Welcome, and it's great to have you here.
Thank you, good to be here.
I guess the first question has to be, a little while ago you suffered some vocal cord damage, polyps on the pipes.
Yeah.
And that must be one of the most terrifying things for a vocalist, not just because it means you might have a problem with your career, but also it's your art and your form of expression that might be gone. What was that all like?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was, it's kind of, and I think anyone that, because your body knows that you've got an ailment, and I think anyone that knows they've got an ailment tries to believe that it's probably not that serious and it's going to go away in a couple of days, but you know something's wrong, and you know what the worst case scenario is. For me, it would be like actual damage to the vocal cords, and then you go in and it is that, and you kind of hope that he's going to go, but you're your little unique blossom, yours is going to go with 2 days of sleep. But that's not the case.
It was surgery. They cut parts of your throat out to make you be able to sing again.
Yeah, well, I guess not parts of my throat, the extra parts that just developed naturally. I was just like blisters.
And that's done. You're dusted, you've had some therapy, you've had some rest. Can you still sing the same, hit the same registers?
Pretty much.
Good. Well, there must be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of fans who are glad that the voice is still there.
Days like this, we could stay forever. Days like this, in each other's arms. Is it that honey-colored, sun-colored blue sky?
So Kahn, you've had a whole lot of success with the Polytones and been the primary singer and songwriter for them. Then you've decided to do the solo project, and thus far response to Days Like This seems pretty good. What made you decide it was time for a solo?
I think where it comes from is the fact that this is what I love to do, is actually songwriting, and there's so many songs that you can't always dress up in the context of the Polytones, and there's so many songs that never get used by the Polytones because you can't just release 50-track albums. But I still want to get the music out there. That this allowed me an avenue to do that, to release the material.
Now, there is one thing about Polytones material, it tends to be uplifting. Obviously, you've got some darker songs, but it's generally quite uplifting and happy and very melodically clever pop rock kind of music. Some of the songs on Days Like This explore a little bit of a darker edge. Was that just because they didn't work with Polytones, or are you going through a dark phase?
Well, maybe a bit of both. They probably didn't fit in the Polytones context. I did go through some dark phases, I was a little bit jaded and cynical about music in general and the industry. And, I guess some of those moments filtered through. Like I said, it's a cathartic process. You kind of deal with your baggage. Some people talk to a priest, some people talk to a deity, some people talk to a psychologist, some people just swallow pills, some people drink. I write a song about it, and then I'm like, okay, cool, it's all better now.
Done and dusted. So we'll take a listen to a clip from The Candle.
I'll be the candle when your day's the dawn.
You mention it's to a person, and you're talking to a person that you're beside when you're dark. Is there an actual person that you're referring to there, or is it a more generic kind of meaning?
It's more generic because that person is not necessarily, it's not a love, like a traditional love relationship. It can be a friend, it can be someone who has a child, or it could be for a sibling. Yeah, and and we are both. we are sometimes the person who's the recipient of that light, and we are sometimes the person giving that light. And you find that's what relationships are about. You hopefully benefit each other and lift each other up. It's not. I think when one person is doing all the carrying, that's when it's a little bit more difficult for that one person doing the carrying.
Your days the darkest